Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mega Man 11 90% tutorial series. Today we are doing Bounce Man, and man, I hope you are all ready to have the time of your lives. If you're not having fun in this stage, you haven't practiced it enough. There's a big part of me that was sobbing the entire time I had to work on this. This stage is so technical, it's dumb. I'm gonna go ahead and say that maybe Blockman was like a step up in difficulty, but like Bounce Man really hates your life. Literally, just go ahead, ask any runner, which stage do you think they suffer in the most? It's probably going to be this one. Now you may have noticed that there is a W tank in the corner, and this will be the last stage, as far as I can tell, that I'm going to be showing off W tank strats. There's a toss-up right now of W tank strats for Fuse Man and Wily 1. But I'm not going to really talk about those unless if they become really prevalent, and that's because the last W tank you could possibly get that's even remotely, kind of in the way, is the one in this stage, but we're not going to talk about that one. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. So essentially, in order to get the W tank in this stage, you would have to use a Coil Jet to get there, and I will be teaching how to do Coil Jets in this tutorial, but specifically, if you're not getting the W tank in this stage, then you'd be going to the shop. Outside of safety, I don't want to be teaching anyone to go to the shop in this tutorial series. I mean, you totally can. You should be able to afford an E-tank and some W-tanks if you really want to go, but you shouldn't need to. Now, this playthrough has a handful of mistakes. I did my best, but getting a completely flawless run for Bounce Man was a little difficult. It took me quite a while to get this run that I'm presenting to you guys. So I will be showing off a couple of the rooms that I made mistakes in and some alternative strats that you can go for. Now, I also ran out of ammo because I was not as clean as I could have been doing this, so I actually wound up riding Rush for a little bit too long. There is a way to obviously do that a little bit better and hold on to a little bit more Rush ammo, which means that at the end of this room you would have another Rush Jet so that you could save just a little bit more time. But if you're not going to be going for the Coil Jet anyway, then you should be able to do all the remaining Rush strats. Now, if you're lucky and at some point in the first half of the stage you manage to get some energy drops so that you can delay your use of the W tank, then you'll have more Rush energy to play with. At the very least, Bounce Man is not a difficult kill. Provided that you have enough ammo for 2 power impacts, you can get through this fight just fine. Shoutouts to Qttsix and karterfreak, it was their runs that I was studying from while making this particular tutorial. That said, as a reminder, I study from everyone's runs, honestly. I hope you are ready for Rush Jet. Now, specifically at the beginning of the stage, you're trying to get as much height out of them as you can. I actually have to shift my hand into a position that's specifically more based on nailing Rush Jets rather than firing weapons. Now, for this third Rush Jet, I actually like to be basically directly over this orange ball. In the time it takes me to get over to the arrow sign, I should have enough height holding up to make it onto the ledge. And then very luckily, if you happen to fail a number of these jumps and you land on the bounce pad, it actually is a pretty decent recovery point. It tends to land you back on the platform that you fell from. So even the very first room of this stage is incredibly demanding. Slide, jump, rush jet, around, rush jet right out of it, jump, rush jet. Now I use my slide button to get off of any ladder, but afterwards in this specific section I start mashing down and jump so that I can hold down and jump as I slide into the bouncy ball. And there are a number of setups like that across the stage that allow you to get through these bouncy sections more easily. The next room is pretty easy, but something that you'll have to force yourself to remember in this stage is that as you're getting around these bouncy balls, you'll not be wanting to brush up against them, because that's how you end up getting thrown into the wrong directions. Now I like to power impact across this room and then use a rush jet. You can do it the other way around, but I'm more comfortable with this method. Now, ladders can be extremely annoying, so to make sure that I don't balk off the wall or end up impacting the wrong direction, I wait until I see Mega Man in the animation where he's at the top of the ladder, and then I know that I can impact and it'll shoot me off to the left. If you're too far to the left in this section, you'll probably get hit by that Boyorn, so just make sure you're chilling in place as you call rush jet. Ride rush jet upwards, and as you jump, make sure you rapid fire buster to get the hand out of the way. And then from here, you're going to need to do a fairly max height rush jet jump in order to get up onto the ledge with the extra life. If the balloon enemy is in the way, make sure you use torch to take him out, but also try and hit the balloons, because if you try and power tundra all the enemies off the screen, the balloons won't die to the power tundra. This is another one of those you want to practice at rooms. Again, as you enter the room, impact left, rush jet, jump bullets, rush jet, jump, turn around, rush jet. This next room is pretty easy. I just have power torch equipped, and as I jump, I fire away, leave the power gear on, and then power impact to exit the room. Make sure you dequip impact as you climb the ladder. You won't have much time to do that as you enter this room. Hold down jump button and walk onto a bounce ball, turn around and rapid fire buster to get the hands out of the way, and then from the second one you'll be doing a power impact to reach the ladder. Not too far left or you'll hit the wall. Now in this next room, if you want to wait for these bullets to pass, you can, but optimally you should be able to jump up between them and use a rush jet. And then once more, optimally you'll be calling a rush jet instead of landing on that last yellow ball. Equip block, you'll be using a power block to kill this Bjorn, but you want to wait until you've noticed that you started bouncing so you don't waste time pausing on the ladder. Make sure you reach max height as you approach the bounce wall or you're not going to make it up. Now both frog balloon kills are pretty easy. This is a slightly more technical version of it. You're going to be starting with a regular torch. I like to do 2 slides in and then jump. Without jumping, the torch isn't going to pop the balloon. Once these flames have dissipated, then you can use a powered torch, power block, and a power blast. And if that hasn't killed it, just out of precautionary sake, I dequip and start rapid fire bustering. But he should die. Once more at full speed. Slide, slide, jump, torch, power, torch, blocks, blast. Turn power gear off ASAP, you'll need it in the next room. This room has killed me so many times. Visually, I'm trying to make sure that I've reached a certain height when I start my rapid fire power impacts. So starting like halfway over that pit, I should be able to get just underneath this Pekon. If you get hit around this spot, then don't panic, use iframes and try to get yourself there quickly while you're still invulnerable. 3 powered impacts should get you out of this room. You don't need to be at max height when you start. If you feel like saving a little more frames, then you'll cut off your bounce a little early. Now, most of the time you'll be completely out of ammo at this point, unless if you got some obscenely lucky drops. This next room is where your luck matters the most. Power Blast will take out this Eddy, then without moving I just swap to impact and then mash slide. If you go too quickly you might actually slide underneath the ammo drop, so just keep in mind you don't need to be like super frame perfect in that moment. Now if either of these Bjorns actually drop a big ammo, then congratulations, you could probably delay your weapon tank refill. I just like to drop off this ladder real quick so I can jump up a little bit faster than climb the ladder the rest of the way. And then this is where you're probably going to be using your W tank most of the time in this stage. But if you have extra impact, then you should be able to make it across this room before you actually reload the weapon tank. And all it really saves you is that extra impact, because in this next room you're going to be using rush twice. This maneuver is really awkward for me, but if you focus on just rush, ignore the balloon guy, pretend he's not even there, it'll actually help you out a little bit more. You can just focus on the trick because you shouldn't be getting hit by him no matter what. Now I climbed out normally here, but Carter reminds me there is a better way to finish this room. After getting the first rush jet, once I get up to the ladder, you're going to climb up a little bit, call rush, climb a little bit higher still so that you actually land on rush and then jump off of him. This next room was actually one of the ones that I screwed up in the first demonstration. Again, impact as you see Mega Man climbing over the ladder. And then after I see him bounce off the floor is when I start holding X, and that should set me up to bounce out of this room without getting stuck on the left side. Now for Frog Balloon 2, just make sure you have impact equipped. As soon as you regain control of Mega Man, partway into your second bounce is when I'll do a power impact to try and aim for the head. Back up at least enough to be in the center window pane against the background. Powered torch and powered bricks ought to finish the job, but I like to throw power blast just in case. Once more at full speed. Power impact, back up, power torch, power block, power blast. Use blast bombs to stay as close to the floor as you can. So long as you have practiced your rush jet jumping, you shouldn't die here, but don't worry, at least there's a checkpoint right there. Next room starts off with a jet jump, but at the top of this ladder we're going to be doing a coil jet. For a coil jet to work, rush must completely disappear off the screen, so you call rush coil, then swap to a weapon the moment you land on the spring. The moment I see Mega Man bounce, I flick a weapon and then I immediately start mashing rush jet. Rush should just barely be called back as you're in the air, and you should be able to land on him. Quite frankly, I don't like how dumb it is to do that. Take a look at it again at full speed. Honestly, it's really, really precise. You can see it just barely works. There is, however, another way that is much easier to do, at least. Rapid fire buster over the pit, and then as you bounce off these bounce balls, you're going to be calling rush at peak height. You're going to be flying over to where the drones are being spit out of. Turn around, call rush one more time, and you'll be able to get around the corner. So yeah, let's check out the easy strat at full speed. Rush jet jump, and then rush right up to where the drones spit out of, and then rush back out. Next room ain't so bad, just pick and choose where you use your impacts carefully. Keep an eye on your rush ammo though, because we're going to need a little bit for this next room. Now, optimally, you can do it with just 2. That's assuming you're doing a max height jump around this ledge, calling rush at the very peak of your jump. You only need to ride him up for 4 ammo, essentially, 2 ticks worth. But most of the time, comfortably, I'll be using 3 ticks worth, so that's 6 ammo, and then I'll be jumping as soon as I see that last one depleted. And that barely gives you the height you need to trick the game into thinking you've jumped from the absolute top of the room. Now you can see I ran out of rush ammo, so I couldn't actually jump up this ladder. But if you have enough ammo, then you should be able to call rush just at the base of the ladder. And then the setup for this last room, do a power impact as you're over the red ball in the very beginning of the room, then hold X and you should be able to bounce to the ceiling and then back down. Now congratulations, you've actually beaten the stage! That's the hardest part, because bounce is actually kind of free. Provided that you've saved yourself enough ammo to use a power impact twice throughout the fight, then this is a cakewalk. You'll start the fight by holding power gear, and then walk forward slightly. Just wait a brief moment so that you don't whiff underneath Bounce Man. You'll equip your weapon and start charging a double buster as quickly as possible. Fire away when you can. If you get hit of this, no problem. It actually kind of takes a little stress off my mind because now I don't have to worry about getting hit out of the power impact. And so long as your power impact isn't hitting Bounce Man while he still has iframes, then the initial hit will connect and the explosion afterwards will finish the job. So again, at full speed, and God bless if you can make it through this stage and nail most of these strats. That will be the real victory you walk away with. Power impact, start charging double buster on his back, and then finish the job with power impact. Thanks for watching. See you next time with Fuse Man.